All right. It's now 6:30. This is a regular meeting of the Gurdon School District Board of Directors. We'll now call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary, can you satisfy we have a quorum present?
Yes.
All right, with a quorum present, we'll start with the business at hand. Can you lead us in prayer, Cassie?
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just thank you for today. God, we just thank you for this new school year that we have commenced upon. And God, we just thank you for all of the leaders and staff and faculty that help make this district run so smoothly. Lord, we just ask for a special hedge of protection around them and our students as they come in and out of our district every day. And God, we just ask that the decisions made in this room reflect godly wisdom that we ask from you. And we just ask for continued protection for our school district and growth of it. And God, we just ask all these things in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand with me for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We will start with our special recognitions. This is our first board meeting of the new school year. We have officially begun. It's in full swing, and we have quite a few that we want to recognize. And I know I just handed that off to Kendall. Okay, and I handed that off to Kendall just because he's going to do the legwork on this one. But we wanted to recognize our custodial staff for the work they did this summer. That's one of the biggest things, is getting those buildings prepared so that we can take care of all of our summer PD, so that teachers can get in there and get their rooms ready to go, so that we can have everything ready to go day one. This year, our custodians got in there as soon as kids were out of the building and got those buildings prepared to the point that, it was amazing how fast they got it done. And so we were able to get so much more done this summer in the buildings than we thought we were. Some of us were prepared to go into classrooms and paint ourselves to make sure that it was done, but because they got in there and got it done so quick, they had more time to get those things done. So we wanted to recognize them.
It normally takes a month, at least 4 weeks just to do the floors. They done the floors in 3 weeks.
They got in there and got after it. It was pretty quick when I was getting those notifications from Kendall. Hey, they'll be able to get back in the building at this time. It was pretty impressive. So Kendall, do you want to introduce your team?
I said, I got 2 more coming.
Okay.
At 50 block.
Okay. And some of those we had this year have never done this before either. So that's why, another reason why I was so impressed they were able to get in there and get it knocked out. So Stacy and Melissa.
All right, first, Stacy Hawthorne, don't sit down, get back.
Get up. And y'all are all gonna have to do a picture with me, so just be prepared.
Could do it without you.
We'll do a group picture all together.
Ruby Gatlin, where's Ruby? Ruby may be on playground duty. She may be in a teacher's room when they have to leave. She takes care of everything for me.
And she brought us 2 more kids this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa Hawthorne. This is Melissa's second year at the elementary school. Does a fantastic job. Thank you, appreciate you.
Thank you.
What of the year, Maria Dow. Maria has stepped in and made things way better at the high school. Doing an excellent job. Thank you for all you do. Miss Wanda Prim. Last month, Miss Wanda got our. Thank you, Miss Wanda. Matt Evans, where's Matt? Matt works all the football games, parking cars, takes care of restrooms. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Jason Cody. Jason Bowden, our other elementary staff, definitely couldn't do it without him. Yep. Thank you.
And now I want all of you up here so we can get a picture.
And they just don't do custodial work. They do a little bit everything.
They do everything.
Maria was in the cafeteria.
Yeah, I had-
Yes.
today.
The cafeteria was short today and I had to get Maria to go to the cafeteria.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
I almost called you.
Well, we did call Miss Jones. She got down there just in time to not have to put on a hairnet.
Middle.
Yes, you should be in the middle.
I should be in the back.
Okay, everybody look this way, Miss Wolf, I can see. Everybody cheese. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Got you. Yeah, we got you. We got you.
And our other group that we want to give special recognition to made my transition a whole lot easier this summer and have gone in and just gone to work, put their heads down, and every time I turn around, I see them right at it. And Miss Hart, we told one of them he could go home. So we'll have to present him later. So Miss Tanya Kinzer. And Tanya, of course, is our new assistant principal for elementary, and I've seen her with her track shoes on here lately. Kim Riley. I know Miss Riley has been very busy today doing lots of things I've asked her to do. Erica Hart. And the other one is, of course, Coach Jared Morrow, but he looked like he was about to pass out from his day of traveling all over the district and taking care of so many things. So we told him, and you know, he's got a new baby too. So we told him, go home. It'll be all right. We'll be okay. So, but this crew, I mean, they're great. They're fantastic and I'm blessed to have them. So. I think that's all the special recognitions. So.
Okay, next item of business is we have some personnel issues, so we'll now enter into executive session. Y'all keep your seats. It'll be easier for us to move than y'all. Okay, we're now done with our executive session. We'll now call the meeting back into order.
So you need a motion to.
If we have a motion,
Make a motion to approve the backpack grant, final payments at the stipends and close out that grant.
Second motion.
okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
Board minute approval.
Okay.
Approval of the last board minutes.
Yeah. The next item of business is approval of the board minutes from July 16th and August 8th meetings. We have a motion.
I'm like to give for
Okay.
board meeting
We have,
minutes from July 16th and August 8th.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye. All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. Next item of business is concerning the financial report. Is there anything that you can tell us about that?
There's really not, we're still trying to finish out, 2023-24. That has to be done by August 31st, so that should, y'all will have all of those final ones for the next month, and, we're still, the warehouse won't do a pull till September 10th, so we're still not getting reimbursed for any of our federal expenditures till then. So we're just kind of holding steady, and she'll have some questions, she'll see. And also, if you notice, your packets are very abbreviated this month, and that's because the rest of the spreadsheets that you'll normally get have budget numbers in those. And then y'all will approve budget in the September meeting, and we'll go back to full board packets in October.
Under that item 3004, at the bottom of page 1.
At the bottom, or the bottom of page,
First page. That 191,000, that's a payment, is that correct? On the bond. $3,400, so last one of the bond. Maybe it's page 2, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah. Page 2.
on page 2.
at the very bottom of the bond expenditure.
3004.
That was. Let me look in all. I'll find out.
So any other questions about the financial report? Not, we have a motion to approve it as written.
I mention that we approve the financial report, July 2024.
We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. Okay, the next item of business is under the business, legal, finance, and consent agenda.
Mhm.
The building fund transfer.
Mhm. And Rhonda gave me that, and that's looking like 300,000, right, Rhonda?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know why you come up with that amount?
I've tried to look at, kind of look at where we were right now
Mhm.
compared to where we were the year before. As I said, we're still in the process, so I gave myself a little cushion.
Mhm.
I want to be above what we were the year before, but not just tremendously above that number. We also, several years ago, they passed that you can only carry over so much of, your legal balance.
Mhm.
And so the most I could carry over was, 1.357,000. So I want to get below that. I want to give us some wiggle room for future years.
Mhm.
I want to be able to put that in the building fund, so we have that for future expenses. So it just was a nice clean number, giving me a little wiggle room as we're making an adjustment.
Have we seen any benefit from the millage yet?
Not really yet,
So we can-
just because you had a little bit right on the front end, but now we're kind of stagnant. You're gonna have a little bit that comes in, but not a whole lot until probably October, November, when you'll really see the benefit of the millage coming into play. One of the things we do have though is we have that bond, but remember, we're not making really any principal payments on that bond for several years, so, we did not have to make a principal payment, and so that therefore you've got a bigger legal balance than what we normally will.
Is there any other questions about the building funds transfer amount? There's none questions. Can we move to approve that?
I move we approve the building fund transfer as presented.
Okay, we have a motion.
Oh, second. Sorry.
Motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. And that motion passed. All right, the next item goes to the fire alarm system quotes that we talked about.
Yes, and that's when Leslie Dias came in and
Mhm.
told us that we had those partnership funds available. And we got the quote from Summit, and then Robbie, you asked if we could get another quote, so Kendall went out and he got another quote from State Systems, and I put both of those in there. And when you go in and look at it, State Systems is, I mean, they're pretty comparable. State Systems was just a little bit more expensive, but when we talked about it, the recommendation would be to go with Summit, because Summit is what we already have. They know our systems, they know our buildings, they've done the work for us, so. And they've been very easy to work with, and they show up when we ask them to. And again, it took him a little bit to track that other company down and get them in here, so. The recommendation would be that we use Summit for that project.
So just to clarify, so the total quote is 251,000 from Summit, but it will be money fund, so half of it, so 125 roughly.
And no, it was less than half of what we were going to have to come up with.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure on that.
Okay.
Kendall, are you comfortable with this? I mean, have the Summit people always done what you need them to do?
Well, when I took over this, there was two different companies in here. One was doing one part, one was doing another.
Mhm.
I got Summit back because now they do everything.
Yeah.
You know, before they only done part of it, not extinguishers. Now they do everything from the monitoring here to all the fire systems at all the rest of the schools. They do my kitchen suppressions, you know, every 6 months I have to have those serviced and done. And I've got one company now that takes care of it all, and I can call them, and within 24 hours, they have to come out of here if I have a problem. For the other people, it may be 3 or 4 weeks.
Yes. Any more questions about the fire alarm system quote? Not, can we move on it?
Make a motion that we accept the fire alarm quote from Summit as presented.
We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. All right, the next item is,
Do you have time for me to answer?
yeah, sure.
Robbie's question, Robbie, your question is it was two different checks, and they're both to McKinsey. Part of it was one of them was for the gym HVAC, and then part of it was for work on the parking lot.
The next item is talking about retention and recruitment bonus. Misty, can you?
Mhm.
elaborate?
And that's something that the board has already voted on. It was just a matter of going back and getting the exact amounts, because we have that certain little amount of the ARPS or funds left over that we have to spend by the end of next month. And the board had voted, and PPC and everybody was in acceptance of doing a one-time recruitment and retention bonus. And this is just a matter of we finally have it finalized with the actual number. And it's attached to the plan, and Renee can tell you about the plan if you've got any questions about that, but we came up with the number for full-time employees and then half-time or part-time, and we only actually have one part-time employee. And that full-time employee bonus, recruitment retention bonus is across the board. It's not a certain amount for certified and a certain amount for classified. It is all full-time employees will get that same amount.
That's good. How did you arrive at that number?
Rhonda looked at what the funds were that we had available and how to divide it out. We looked at that. We looked at the number of employees we had. We had to kind of think about it too, because we had a few more employees coming in and doing some switching around. So Rhonda worked with those numbers, and this is where we came up with.
Does that totally exhaust all the ESSER funds now? Okay.
Yeah, so full-time would get 1165, and then half-time would get 582.50. And again, we have to have this gone and done by the end of next month.
Is there any other questions or statements about that? I mean, personally, I'd give y'all 5,000 for what y'all do. Y'all really have a tough job and y'all do really good at it.
I move we approve the use of the ARP ESSER funds as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye. All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. The next item is a resolution concerning the school use of Cali Station, and Yolanda's going to step out for a moment.
And it's basically anytime we do business with someone who has, on the board, has a vested interest in the business, we would have to come up with a resolution as to why we are doing business with that particular entity. And as far as Cali Station, you've got the resolution here written out as far as why we are using that station for any business. We are a small rural community, which is within close proximity. It allows us immediate access to some things.
I move we approve the resolution to conduct business with the Cali Station.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. But a lot to get back here. Well, yeah, the next item we have a resignation of a board member to recognize, approve.
That's the last, a couple of weeks ago, we got Bernard's resignation, and now we have received Kirk's resignation, which will officially make us having 2 vacant seats on the board.
I want to say something. I've been talking with the ASBA, we having, can't just find an unlimited amount of people that's interested in being on the board. And a couple things that Lucas come up with is the possibility of becoming an at-large district. That's where we'll do away with zoning and just, if you're within the district, you would qualify if you're a registered voter and what have you, or if in an election, you could be elected, you could have your next door neighbor and you be members. The zoning would kind of go away.
And one of the things when we had that discussion is that, you're elected from a zone, but once you are elected to the school board, you don't represent your zone. You still represent the whole district. So with having a district that's geographically as spread out as ours is, but having the population that we have, and it is hard to find people, especially from those specific locations, that want to do this, because it's a pretty thankless task.
And a second thing that we talked about is the possibility of downsizing the board instead of a 7-member board, go to like a 5-member board. Because it is hard to get people at the same place at the same time. But hopefully we won't have to do that if we, maybe look at this at-large system to see if that works for us. A lot of smaller districts are going to that for the same reasons.
Well, was that 2 years ago that we voted on like not being able to, like, we had the option of like zooming in or not zooming in, and some of that stuff you couldn't vote, but you could at least be participating. And so we did not approve that. I don't know if that's something that we just don't want us to get in the situation of not having a quorum if someone's potentially sick, but they could still participate or
Sure.
just out of town. So, okay, either way, I just don't want us to get so limited that not being able to conduct business.
Sure. We'll keep looking into, there's a lot of details. It's not just, it's kind of complicated, but we'll continue to look forward. Cause I want to say, my understanding now, and Miss, you can tell, is that we're gonna have to wait till the next voting cycle
To make either one of those
make either
decisions.
one of those decisions.
Yeah.
And if we appoint people between now and then, they have to come from their respective zone. So we've had some interest, but it's overlapping zones right now, people that's already in the zone.
So do election laws, are they the same for school board if they were appointed now and finished out the term? Do they have to have like a cool out period and then they can't run the next term?
No, they could run the
They
next
can
term.
immediately run, so they won't.
Yeah, really the holdup now is just the zone part, is finding people in the zone that Kurt and Bernard represented, so.
And the way those zones are divided, it's like with Bernard's, if you're on one side of Highway 53,
Yeah.
you're in your zone. If you're on the other side, then you would be in his zone. So
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I'd love to see us personally go to that at-large where, even if your next door neighbor's a good person, they show interest, would be a good member. I mean, anybody can represent me. I don't necessarily, have to be spread out or whatever. But
right now, that's just something to think about. That's
yes, definitely.
not happening today.
All right, the next item,
Well, you have
business
to,
and policy update.
you still,
Oh, yeah, we got to, you're
I
right.
make a motion that we accept the final resignation of Kirk Rose on the school board.
Motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye. All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. The next item is policy update.
yes, and most of the policy updates you see in here are based on legislative action. And then there are some other policy updates that are strictly language that we've gone through and they've just changed the language. And one of the big changes in a lot of these is gone from sexual harassment to sex-based harassment. It's the same thing. There is no defining difference in those. It's just language. But a bulk of these in that first set are because of legislative action, and then the others are due to language. So,
We approve both of them at the same time? Two policies here, right?
right.
Can we approve both at the same time?
I think so.
I mean, we approve both policy updates as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye. All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. All right. With those two gone, we have board-to-board transfer.
And we do have one transferring in. We have a young lady from Arkadelphia. Her mom works down here at the clinic and she wanted her to come to Garden. And Arkadelphia had already signed off that she could come, so it's just up to us to accept it now.
I move we approve the board transfer as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye. All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. We have a meeting, let's see, we got, on the director's report, we got construction project update.
Melanie Terry.
Update us on where we're at.
Okay. As far as the gymnasium is concerned, we should be finished this month. This month, they've got the two big outside ducts fabricated. They're gonna set one tomorrow. Set the next one next week. bring a crane in, set the two big units. And as soon as they tell us that everything's working well, all the ceiling grids in place, we put the ceiling grid up and the insulation, that won't take but one day. And we should be finished.
Is there anything we did that caused any other problems that we don't know about yet, or haven't seen
Nothing I
anything?
know, nothing I know.
Gotcha.
Mr. Pilgrim is relocating two, light poles out here in the parking lot. And other than that, it's all finished. We addressed the leaks in the building.
Mhm.
We're just waiting on a big rain to see if we did any good. I think we did. so.
Gotcha. Good deal.
Barry, does there need to be something around those light poles out there? That are does there need to be something around those light poles that are out there? Because
Well,
it looks like, those.
They
things
were
could be
right
hit.
in the middle of the parking. Now they're gonna be on the edge. It wouldn't hurt if there was a couple of bollards around, you know. Someone could knock them down, but
I would expect somebody to knock them down if they could be
Yeah.
knocked down.
at least they're gonna be out in the grass, you know, where they're, right now, they're out in the middle. So,
So they're gonna be, they haven't been pulled up yet, and moved, they're going. to
one of
be?
them has,
Okay.
but, yeah, they're gonna move them both outside of the parking lot.
Do they just have lights on them, or do they have transformers?
Just like,
Just lights?
just like.
And these lights here are double lights, where the ones now are just singles.
Mhm.
And all they do is they span right here, that's all the light you get. These new ones are double lighted, both sides, and they cast out. So it'll be way better,
Are these metal poles or wood poles?
metal.
Metal.
Terry, when, we were talking before, back in September last year, it was mentioned you mentioned bollards, and they mentioned putting bollards up in front of the
That
elementary
was mentioned,
school,
yeah.
and those haven't been done yet. Is there something that, we could do to?
No one
that
has
up.
told us to. do
That is something that is going to fall under the safety grant that Wendy applied for
When are we getting word on that?
in next month.
That's a fairly easy process,
Mhm.
put those up.
Well, when Dr. Vaughn was here, he was hoping to get something more, attractive and appealing. And they had
Yes.
mentioned maybe bricking around that.
Mm-hmm.
Would that grant possibly cover? the aesthetics
She's
of
got
that?
she's got some specific things because she did check on some things that were more attractive, but it was going to be at a far larger cost than things that were just practical.
Short brick wall there probably wouldn't cost any more than half a dozen bollards.
I don't know that I want to put a wall up there when we set it the way that we did so that it would drain water.
You'd also, if you had to remove some equipment out of
Mhm.
there, you might paint yourself into a corner.
Yeah, that is something that's on plans of the list of plans that we've got coming.
Terry, on the parking lot, for the football stadium and then for the school,
Mm-hmm.
in between that section has not been concreted. And Mike had mentioned last year about digging that up and moving it, because where it currently sits, it takes up the at least two parking spots
Yeah,
at the far corner this way and toward the highway. What's the plan on doing something with that?
we can do that. All we need is get it done. We can do it.
Do you have any idea what that would cost to do?
Um,
And how far, if you had to move that culvert, how far would you have to move it?
we have a 30-foot culvert that was left over here. It wouldn't cost, I'll make an estimate right here. About $4,000.
I hate to ask this question, but why haven't we done it? Did Dr. Vaughn not want to do that?
No
at
one
the
has
time?
told us to do it. Yeah. It's been discussed
Yeah.
more than once, but no one has told us to do it.
At that 4,000, with that just leaving a raw culvert at the end, what about concrete and, you know, kind of make it a
Well,
little finished
You
look,
do it,
you know?
like a head wall.
Yeah.
You do head walls, yeah, the head wall, 2 head walls that cost that much.
Terry,
Hmm.
off the mic 3 weeks ago and gave him the go ahead on doing that.
Oh, you did?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he did.
Well, he never told me.
I sure did.
Um,
I got the text too.
okay.
So is
I've
it,
been in Africa for the last 2 weeks, so, and Mike is having some blood pressure problems, he's not even around. So, yeah, we can get that done.
The problem though with moving, I don't know how far that they want that moved, it's gonna be utilities. 'Cause you got a gas line there, you got a 2-inch water main. Fiber.
Yeah, fiber optic out toward the
I mean,
highway.
we're not gonna be able to move it much, if any.
We can find every one of those.
Yes, sir.
the wrong way or the right way?
They found that fiber the wrong way.
Well, you're not gonna have, that ditch is already there, right? I mean, it's not, you're
They're
not,
just concrete and steel.
I mean, you're not gonna have to dig down deeper than the
Figure
culvert
it out,
goes, right?
yeah. It's a culvert, you wouldn't have to dig much, but sometimes that fiber optic is not very deep.
I don't wanna jump in here, Jack, but what's the timeline? Like, we can't make it to a Thursday or Friday night game for the next 10 weeks if that's not connected.
Uh,
Like, we can't not have it for game night. I mean, if this is like gonna run over to a Thursday or Friday night, it's gonna
When's
be
the first ball game? When do you,
next Thursday.
next Thursday? Pretty short notice.
About 3 weeks ago.
I was just curious, because, you know, just looking at it, it looks like it's not complete, and it looks like
Yeah.
it would look better. And plus, there's rocks from that little section that get kicked over onto the concrete, and then that
Yeah.
gets crushed up.
We intended to do that at first. And then it was discussed. And at one time it said no, and the next time yes, so.
Is
I
there a
was just
time,
waiting. I didn't know we had to go there.
is there a time where there's an away junior game and an away senior game that would work out
No,
at
I
the same
mean,
week?
we have both teams are off the week of September 19th and 20th. That Thursday and Friday is open. I mean, that would be the only.
But if we're moving things, if we're digging stuff up and moving it, it's not going to get done in that amount of time. It's not. Because the pace that things have moved so far, that's not gonna happen.
How long would it take you to do, Terry?
It wouldn't take long at all. About
So it's,
2 days. 2 days, if we could do it.
Yeah.
I have to see what our schedule is.
Okay, I was just asking,
Yeah.
I'll let somebody else make that decision, I was just
I could
curious.
almost do it by myself in 2 days.
To me, it looks like it needs to be completed, it needs to be finished, but I agree, it needs to be done when it's not gonna interfere with football parking. Doesn't need to interfere with school parking either, but
Just.
Yeah, like, I
give
think,
me
I
time when I
think
can
Mischief,
do it.
you just oversee that, you know, the wishes, just,
But I
Whenever
would agree
it's-
with what Mike said last year, and that is it needs to be moved, because otherwise you've wasted multiple parking spots up against the the highway side.
Mhm.
I don't know
Yeah,
how
it's
much
a-
room there is for
Just a
that,
little out of place.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where it originally was?
Mm-hmm.
is there any more questions about any of the projects?
I do have another question.
Okay.
So that's a go? Is this
Don't
new?
look at me, I'm not making that decision, I was
I don't
just
think we
asking
need to make
about
that
it, I'll
decision right
I'll
now.
let Misty
Yeah, I think this is a day-to-day deal. I think.
Yeah,
Mitch
I don't
will
think that
handle it.
decision needs to be made right now because we've just started back to school and I don't want to tear anything else up right now.
Outside the auditorium here where that drainage, problem was fixed.
Outside, oh, yeah,
Yeah, by
Yeah.
the door.
yep.
They put a little wall there and then some dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Could they- Could they
A
pack,
membrane,
yeah, could they pack that dirt down? Cause it's not packed down at all.
it needs to be raked down, it needs some grass on it and some hay. Which we're gonna do that, we've got other places we need to put grass and hay.
On the end of
And then a
the,
lot over here at the gymnasium at the back. There's a lot of dirt work to be done out there.
say that again.
At the gymnasium at the back, have you been back there?
Yeah, I have.
A lot of dirt disturbance back there, needs to be cleaned up and.
You talking
seeded
about
and-
where the air conditioning
Yes.
stuff is set? Are they gonna do more there to smooth
Yeah, they
that?
fixed all of that, Mr. White, that's part of his job.
And are they putting a gutter up back there as well?
Yes,
to
they
keep that
are.
water?
That gutter was not. It was added on,
Yeah,
you know, it needs a gutter there, all that water going on there, on those units, it needs a gutter. They may have it up, they had part of it up yesterday.
Terry, I had one question that was brought to our attention. Some of that on and over the walkways still has some of the blue paint on it. Is it just that you can't see the whole top side of those awnings or is it all that way?
Where do you mean now?
Yolanda, you meant,
It's near the little gym over at the
Here's
On the
one
elementary
gym.
campus.
middle,
You
yeah.
see some blue paint?
Mhm.
Okay.
Dr. Vaughn said it was when y'all took it down and used the man lift to go in and do something and then put back
Yeah,
up.
he was
It's-
supposed to come back and paint
blue.
that. He's gotta do some repair.
Okay.
Some of that paint peeled
Mhm.
right at the top near the roofing. It peeled because it was probably a little moisture right there when they painted it.
Mhm.
I've already told him about it. He's gonna come back and fix all of that.
well, after Yolanda mentioned that, I thought I seen where we made that turn that goes to the auditorium. I thought I seen some of the similar condition there after I looked at it. We
Yeah.
might get him to look at that part too. Or the whole, or all that, that we redid. Might-
It's all been addressed, Rodney.
Has it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I took pictures of it, sent it all to Mike, and it's all been addressed.
okay, good deal. Is there any more questions for Terry while he's available?
so is he scheduled to come paint that? And get that
Yes,
redone?
yes, he is.
And who's doing the gutter at the end of the gym?
Mr. White.
How much does that cost?
Well, probably nothing because, we're gonna leave the fans in the ceiling. And he was supposed to remove those and cover that, but they decided to keep them. So he'll trade out some of that for the gutter work.
Do those gutters match like the rest of the gutters that are around?
I
on the other
hope so.
building? I
I
just,
think they do.
I was just curious. I was just curious because there are some places along the part of some of the buildings that has a section of gutter. But then there's a lot of no
There's a
gutter.
lot of no gutter around here.
And there are some sections that, in my opinion, maybe somebody else's, but in my opinion, need gutter, like over the air conditioning. There's no gutter over the air conditioning at the high school. There's no gutter at the middle school over any of the air conditioning there as well. So all that water is just pouring off on the equipment. And so I was just curious, if it's costing nothing and if you had extra,
Oh, well, we'd have to talk to Mr. White about that.
or how much it would, I just wondered how
Yeah.
much that would cost as well, if you were to cover
You
those
know,
small
swap
sections.
out apples for apples.
Sure.
If you wanted to do that.
I was just curious as to how much something like that would cost, on a small section.
Mhm.
It just appears to be a need,
Yeah.
for a couple places.
Well, I can find out exactly what that gutter costs up there.
Is there any more questions or comments about the construction? If Now let's go to the next item of business with the athletic project update. Coach Jackson's here to help us with that.
All right,
You gotta turn it on.
All right, I'm gonna go through this. I think there's only 7 or 8 slides. I appreciate you allowing me to come. Next year, I'm gonna try to do it in June when we're just wrapping up the school year. You know, a lot of this is obviously to do with 23, 24, and we're cranking and rolling on 24 and 25. And I'm gonna, you know, if you got questions at the end, obviously ask them. I'm gonna apologize for being a little bit short-winded, but as soon as we're done, I'm gonna go scout a game that Magna Co's playing right down the road. But you know, just looking back at the different sports, highlighting different things that happened this past year. You know, Braden King, obviously everybody recognizes and knows that name. He's going to be have the opportunity this year, you know, obviously, to be a 3-year All-State player, which doesn't come along very often. As far, you know, he received that as sophomore and junior year. Cross country had a big year. They're South Regional champs. Two people qualified for the state tournament. In tennis, and then our cheer squad, you know, finished their 4th out of the state competition. Softball reached the regional tournament for the first time since 2016. Definitely excited about that. Young team, we only had 2 seniors, so a lot of them coming back this past year. And then, you know, probably the 2 sports that we've been the most successful at here lately, and we try to be all the time, would be the track program. Girls especially, you know, 2A state runner-up, and then you can see the junior girls as far as 4-peat district champions, senior girls 3-peat district champions. So, you know, all in all, and we had 1 or 2 other individual state champions on the boys and girls side, but, you know, just kind of some highlights of the different teams from last year. Just different things that we've tried to do, and some of it's brand new, some of it's that we've done for multiple years that we think are important. You know, I know I spoke kind of at depth, especially last year, about the Athletic Booster Club and what its purpose is and how it helps out the coaches. But, you know, another so-called banner year for those guys as far as, you know, the last year from August 23 to 24, taking in over 14,000. And, you know, their big fundraiser will be the golf tournament that we have there the first part of April, but we certainly appreciate that. And, you know, it allows them to buy the jackets, the award banquets that do not have to come out of the individual sports budget. Summer speed camp, you know, I'm sure if you're on social media, you've seen us post about that. That's something we started 3 years ago, maybe. I mean, and it's open kindergarten, 1st grade through 12th, boys, girls, anybody that wants to come. 2 days a week for, you know, the entirety of the summer, other than the dead weeks. And, you know, we're averaging right about 90 kids, from senior football players all the way down to 1st grade girls out there running around. Obviously, they're not doing the exact same thing, but, you know, it's something that's really taken off, and we appreciate everybody there. Participation rate, you know, we touched on that a lot last year. You know, we're going to have to try to continue to address those needs with the, I don't know about declining population. It's certainly different than when I got here in 2011. So we're going to keep trying to find different ways to address it and get, you know, more guys and girls out, and then also playing multiple sports when they get out. Athletic skills camp, once again, something that's probably about 6 years running, somewhere in there towards the end of May, you know, and this is kind of one of our big selling point, or big things that we try to do to get kids interested in athletics, as far as bringing every boy and girl over, elementary age. It gives the teachers, it's usually the last day of school or last week of school, gives the teachers time to clean up their rooms. The kids are gone. We've got them for 3 or 4 hours, and they kind of rotate around. You know, they may be with me for 20 minutes learning football drills, and then they go to the gym with Coach Wright, and basketball, around to baseball, track. They just kind of make the rounds, and it gives them the opportunity to experience those sports, but probably more importantly, to be around our coaching staff. You know, obviously extremely proud of all our coaches. We try to ask every one of them to do at least one fundraiser. You know, this past year brought in over 30,000, and we also started this past August kind of an all sports fundraiser that brought in over 15,000, and we'll be cranking that up again here shortly. So, just different ways that we've tried to bring in some money to help out the school, and, all our coaches have done a great job with that. Facilities wise, baseball, I know that's been a topic of conversation here before, we're going to have to, or I'm pretty certain we're in the process of looking at dugout renovation, for a couple of reasons. The gymnasium, which he just touched on, well, I'd love it if they could be done on the 29th. I don't know if it can, but that's the big kickoff, pep rally, first pep rally of the year next Thursday. We'd love to be sitting in there in a cool gymnasium, the softball facility, which, I appreciate everything that everybody in this room's done to kind of enhance it through the years. And really the only thing we're sitting there now is just extending the backstop pipe and the netting. Obviously kind of the most eye-popping facility update here lately was not by design. I think everybody knows the storm, obviously late April knocked this down, but we are up and running with the brand new scoreboard. You can see on this, it's still blank right now. Batsons are making the signs, but we've gone out and raised over $37,000 for sponsorships on those sponsor labels there. That what it does, it allowed us that we're not spending a dime of it, I'm pretty sure, for installation or anything. So it's, obviously insurance paid for the bulk of the board, but we were still going to be kind of in charge of installation. That should wiped it totally clean, where it's not costing us anything. And this is kind of tied into it. The guys that had to come in and run fiber optic to the scoreboard from the press box have kind of continued on around, and it's going to be a kind of a hard line internet. I don't really know. Victor knows more about it than I do, but bottom line, we're going back to live streaming the football games, and it will allow us not to, in the past, it kind of may cut out in the middle of it if you get too many people on Wi-Fi or something, but now it should alleviate those problems where if you're watching the live stream, it should be, good to go. And then, other than that, like I said, I hate to be brief or roll through it, but if you got any questions, I'd be glad to ask it. It's just kind of unique. All of this, for the most part, was last year, and we're gearing up and getting ready to go for 24 and 25 school year.
Coach Dixon, you was talking about the downturn of participation. What do you think that is? Or is it
Well,
multiple things?
I don't know, you get me on my soapbox rambling about it, but, I don't know. I mean, I think probably like everything else, I hate to blame it on what we blame a lot of stuff on with COVID, but, I think that little turn there where we're not really, we went through that whole spring without participating, and it was pretty easy maybe not to do a whole lot of anything. And then, sports are tough. It is what it is. But, I mean, I will say this, we are in a better situation than a lot of people that our size, put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
whatever the sport is. I mean, we're in a better situation with participation, better situation as far as multi-sport, and that's kind of the way we try to preach it when they come into 7th grade. I mean, and, if you love or enjoy the sport and you can help us win, we want you doing it. I mean, because, there's only so many boys and girls in this school. We need you to do everything you possibly can. But other than that, I mean, if I knew it, I'd try to, fix it like that. But I think, or I know, just talking to other people in other places, that we're definitely in a better spot than a lot that's our size.
That's good. I mean, sports is a good way to teach leadership and just betterment as a person.
Right.
Get as many people involved in that.
When does soccer start? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, I think I had it up there somewhere. I just probably forgot to mention it. Coach Collins will be coaching our soccer team, and they'll get cranked up just like the rest of the spring sports as soon as we get back from Christmas break. Honestly, probably December-ish before we leave to go Christmas break. He'll get that rolling. And then, it's a spring sport, so they compete all the way through May, hopefully.
Like,
Go Scout.
yeah. Sure.
Misty, do we have a update on that underpinning for the bleachers that we were talking about?
Kendall,
Is there an update on the underpinning for the bleachers that we were talking about before?
Yes, Bobby Pye is supposed to be here. He's supposed to start it this week.
That's both sides, right? Both sides of the field? Both-
No, just one.
Just the one.
We don't have any problems with the other side. It's
Okay.
just this one side that's tearing up the band.
Okay.
There's not any questions. Next item is future business. Do we have any future business other than the meeting?
I don't think so, just our next meeting, a meeting on the 17th.
Okay.
And of course, we're closed for Labor Day.
All right, if there are not any questions, we've moved to adjourn.
Second.
We got a motion second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. We are adjourned.
You need y'all to sign the board-to-board transfer.